Hello! Well, I've done it. I'm back behind the camera. And I'm behind the camera to make a video because I've had numerous people say to me, when are you going to do another video? And to be completely honest, I've tried. I've made a lot of videos since my first sort of video I shared on Facebook through YouTube earlier this year. And it's actually crazy that I haven't put any of them up because I've been so judgmental and critical of each video that I've thought that isn't good enough to share, or I look stupid, or I sound like an idiot, or I started to think nobody wants to listen, and that still could be completely true. But then I realized I've got this person inside of me that is me. It's another version of me that tells myself that I'm not good enough, it's not going to be good enough for anybody, you look like a dick, you sound stupid, you got a weird voice. Like, it's all those things, and she holds me back from doing heaps of the things that I want to do in my life. She holds me back and has held me back in my life, if I'm honest, since I was a kid, since I was in primary school. And I'm making this video for a number of reasons. One, because I don't think enough of us share our true self. And our true self includes that other person in our brain that stops us, that ridicules ourselves, that is pretty much a real bitch to our own self, that treats ourselves like shit. And she stops us, or he, if you're a guy, stops us from living an incredibly happy life, and actually is the cause for our unhappiness. I really do believe we are the only people that can make ourselves happy, and we are also the only people that can really upset ourselves. Now, I'm actually making this video just to prove to myself that in some of the videos I've gone and fixed my hair or put my makeup on, tried to make myself look pretty, and in this video I've come home from work, I didn't wash my hair today, I've stripped off all my makeup, I'm actually a bit sick, so I've got the dark circles, but I wanted my video to be raw and real and honest and true, and because that is the purpose of me sharing. I've got a note that I wrote next to myself that says, no, because I say way too much. And that's something I criticize myself again about in videos when I've tried to make them. So let's just see how many you can count. There you go. See? Straight away. But that's okay. It's not going to make me push stop and start again. So we're 3 minutes 24 deep, and I've probably already said it 10 times, but it's okay. I'm not a professional. So I guess what I really want to share with you is some of my personal struggles. And my struggles do date back from being in, let's say year 2, the ones that I can remember, right the way through to today. So I can see a lot of who I am today was shaped by the things that I went through in year 2, year 5, year 10, year 8, out of high school. Every single experience that you go through is what shapes you into who you are today. And I can name a few that come from being a child. So bit of quick background, I changed primary schools. I moved from a country town to the city. And then from the city, I changed schools, primary schools, and then I also changed to a different high school that none of my friends from primary school were going to. So I had to go through the big challenges of a kid of learning to make new friends and be a loner and an outsider and come in to groups that were already formed. So you can probably imagine, and if you can't, I'll just give you a little explanation. That was hard as fuck to do. the first time I did it when I was really young probably wasn't as hard because I didn't really know that much. I came from a country town and knew that just to talk to people, and you know, that was tough, but I made a really sweet, tight-knit group at my first ever primary school, and our families were friends, and that was, you know, that was great. So that was sort of not a huge hurdle in the end, but it was a big thing to go through as a kid moving at that age. Then I had to leave that primary school to go to another primary school. That was heavy. That was year 5, and that, looking back to this day, was the hardest thing I went through as a kid. Trying to make new friends at year 5 when friends are already formed was super duper hard. But thankfully I was taken in by a girl that had a group of friends who then turned out to be a big time bully. And I have a friend that might watch this that can vouch for that, but that was absolute torture all through year 5. I remember the feeling of begging my mum not to have to go to school, of crying about going to school. I hated every minute of year 5, and I did not want to go to school at all. And then I had to so I got through that, ended up in a reasonably good place, but still I lived in this fear of having to make friends, and I lived in this fear of saying the right things to, you know, I sort of worked out how to make friends and to say the right things, and to get friends I had to, you know, adapt to different people. So I sort of developed that skill at a young age. And then I went to my high school, which was different to the school all my friends were going to, and again went straight through the struggle again. And anybody that's been to high school knows how much of a train wreck that is anyway. So, you know, I made my way through that, made some really good solid friendships, and survived high school. The biggest hurdle that I went through in high school was losing my best friend that I'd been friends with since I was a really young girl to a brain tumour. And that by far has been the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my whole life. And still to this day, you don't really get over that kind of thing. And I think I've carried through to being an adult, and I've done a lot of work recently to work through this because it still holds me back. But my best friend was what's the right word? She was my lifeline, you know, my safety net. She was my safety net. No matter what happened, no matter what school I went to growing up, I knew I had this best friend back home. No matter what happened to me, or if I ended up with no friends, it used to tell myself it didn't matter. I had this best friend, and we were best mates, and we were going to be best friends for our whole life. And then I lost her. And that's part of life. Like, that happens. Death happens. Death is a reality. And then you're left to feel a lot of feelings, but a key feeling that you feel when you lose someone special to you is loneliness. They're a piece of you. They're a part of you. They're, in this case, your inner strength that gets you through your toughest times. And you know, friends are actually everything. Friends are so important. There's my arm again. Whew. I'm gonna have to turn a light on in a minute because it's getting dark in here, but actually just hold that thought. I'll switch it on. Sorry. Okay. That lighting's bad. Real bad. as you can see, side note, as you can see, I get this red rash. You can see it on my face. This red rash is something that has been coming up for me since I was in high school. And what did we used to call it? People used to call it like the nervous rash. It was like, because it would come up when I had to do an oral presentation. It would come up when I'd start drinking. And just any time I got really nervous, like I can cover up my nerves in my talking, but my neck rash will always be a dead giveaway that I am shitting it. So yeah, I'm showing you this because this is real, this is raw, this happens to me. And I was once told by somebody very wise that pointed out when she saw this happening to me that this is my voice. This is my voice, my true inner voice wanting to come out. And I'm that afraid of letting it out that this heats up. And usually when it heats up, I find a way to go within, and I try to back off, and I want that attention off me straight away because I'm terrified of what I'm putting out. So this here, this is something that I would love to never have ever again in my life. Ever. Like, it develops down here. Like, when I was thinking about planning my wedding day, my whole life I was like, okay, I need a high neck dress because there's no way in the world I'm getting rashed up when I'm nervous in my wedding dress, which I had planned the whole time when it was getting drawn up was going to be a high neck, and I made a last minute decision to make it low cut. So side note, but an important note. So I've completely gone off track, as I knew I would. What I was trying to get at is that a lot of who I am today came from those experiences I went through as a child. And those experiences were about, I had to change my own personality a bit, or maybe my personality developed from having to find ways to fit in. I wanted to go under the radar. I wanted friends so I didn't feel lonely. I wanted to not step on anyone's toes because I didn't want to be the victim of bullying ever again. I remember knowing how it felt to feel like that, so I also became someone very considerate of other people's feelings. I couldn't stand to be just standing there if someone was being bullied or teased, and I couldn't stand the thought of seeing someone sitting on their own or not having any friends. So I became someone who cared, listened, befriended everybody. Just to confirm, I didn't do that because I had to, and I don't still do that because I have to. I do that because I genuinely give a fuck about people and people's feelings. And I think everyone deserves to be cared for and to be heard and to have somebody give a shit about them. That's part of who I am that I have no intention on changing. But then there's other sides, like being a people pleaser, that has really made my adult life hard, like really hard. I've gone through, over the years, I've done a lot of work on that, because I actually got to a point, I reckon it was maybe, I don't know, let's say 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 years out of high school, where, you know, we always had this massive group of friends, like huge. And I got to the point where I was everybody's friend, which I loved. But I had all these people that I was always supporting and helping, which I also loved. But they all needed me, and I had to be at every event, every birthday, every single thing. And I had to, if I didn't support someone or I wanted me time, like it was backlashed on me. Like I was made to be the person that didn't care, that didn't put in an effort, whilst other people could get away with that, but I couldn't. So I actually got to a point where I had a bit of a breakdown from helping friends out, and I made a conscious decision that I was going to pull away from going to events and going to every birthday and going to every social situation, because it was just burning me out and it was making me feel like I didn't want to care anymore. I didn't want to be at everybody's birthday. I didn't want to support everybody anymore, and that's not who I wanted to be, and that didn't feel right for me. But I started to think about myself. I think that's really the first time that I started to think about looking after myself and putting myself first for once. So there are a few things that about myself and that have, made me who I am today. And then those sorts of things have rolled into other things. So some big things, I've developed, and I'm working on it now, so I'd say I'm on the up, but I did go down over the years, out of nowhere, and I wish I knew where it came from, because I really don't know when it started. But I started to compare myself and my body and what I had and what I was doing to other people. And I realized, or convinced myself, that, I wasn't pretty, that my face wasn't as pretty as, I had a huge group of girlfriends and they were all stunning, still all stunning. And in my head, I was at the back of the pack. I knew I'd convinced myself I was in this group of friends because I knew that my friends loved me for who I was as a person, but I didn't feel like I was even on the Richter scale with them in terms of the way I looked on the outside. And that's hard for me to say now, because it hurts. Like, it hurts me to think I ever thought that about myself, that I had developed such a lack of confidence for myself. I don't think I ever lacked confidence for who I am, but I lacked confidence for my shell. And that developed into some serious body image issues. And then that developed into some really unhealthy relationships with, the way I ate food, the foods that I ate, the diets that I tried, the overtraining that I did, which then, flowed through into lots of different things. Like, I developed such a bad body image of myself. What I saw in the mirror I became desperate at one point, and I decided that it was enough and I needed to go and see somebody, because I knew what it felt like to be happy. And I remember once upon a time at school, I didn't care about my body, and I just ate and I was free, and I just thought I had a good body, and I just liked myself, and I knew I wasn't the prettiest in the face, but it didn't stop me. I remembered that feeling, and when I lost that as an adult, I knew it wasn't right. I knew something was wrong. But it took a long time, and I'm still on that battle today. Just to give you an idea, when I was in the depths of it, so when I first decided I was going to go see a psychologist, and this is going back about 5, maybe 6 years ago now, so I've still been on that journey, am on that journey today of overcoming that, and it's a battle I know I'll battle forever. But where I am today, as opposed to where I was on this day that I decided, is insane. Like, insane. So on this day, I had this real problem with mirrors. I could wake up in the morning, you know, I'd been training, I'd been eating clean, doing everything right, and I woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, yep, I feel great, I'm on track, I'm losing weight, I'm heading towards my goal, it's all happening for me. And then I went about my day, and my day slowly, just little things happened where I'd, you know, catch a glimpse in the mirror, or feel sitting in my car and feel, you know, that little bit of overhang over my pants, like little things that would just twing in my brain, and they made me start to go from feeling really positive and high and optimistic to feeling a bit shit, feeling ugly, feeling fat, feeling like, you know, what are you doing? Your diet's not working. And then I remember I was driving home, it was near Easter time, and I was driving home and I was like, okay, I'm going to stop in at Target and I'm going to try on some pants or something, whatever it was. And I go into the Target change room and I looked in the mirror and I just burst into tears. Like, I saw, and this is so sad, but I saw, all I could see was fat and all I could see was disgust. Like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, that's disgusting. And that makes me so sad to say that, because I can't believe I ever used to say to myself, you're disgusting. It's really hard to think back on those times and know that I was so cruel to myself and so harsh on myself. But I'm just being real, and that's the truth. That's a point that I got to. And I was like, okay, that's it. No more, you know, cheat meals, no more this. Pull your shit together and go home and, you know, stay on track. So I left the change room, didn't buy anything, obviously, because I felt horrid. And then I am walking out of Target and I just catch a glimpse of these Cadbury chocolate eggs. And I'm like, fuck it. You already look shit. You may as well just get the packet of chocolate. So, you know, I've gone from telling myself, that's it, be harder on yourself, to walking a few meters away, seeing chocolate, buying this big bulk bag of Cadbury, you know, solid eggs, which are the best, by the way. I've gone to the checkout, I've got in the car, I've ripped them open, and I'm just smashing them. Because for a minute that I'm eating them, I forget about everything, and all I have is sugar and chocolate melting in my mouth, and it makes me happy. And then I get home and I just burst into tears. Like, I just lose it. And I don't think I've ever felt the way I felt that night ever again, thank God. But I just knew that I couldn't carry on like that. Like, I had body dysmorphia. I had a huge binge eating problem. I was the healthiest person and the fittest person in a sense, because I trained hard and I ate clean, but I also had this demon of binge eating, and I had this demon of seeing a whale in the mirror when I know I wasn't a whale, but I was just a normal medium size. And I knew the reality, but I also knew the dark cloud that was blocking my true self. And I was like, that's it, that's enough. Like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't be this two people anymore. Like, I need to find the clarity, and I need to overcome this, because it's killing me. Like, it was making me so sad. I was so sad, and I avoided going to social events because I thought, if I go, I'm going to eat bad food. And I knew I would, because I'd want to eat something bad because I was too strict on myself. And then I would binge eat at the party, and then I'd go home and I would binge eat. Like, I could eat like a freaking horse. And then I would over-exercise, overtrain, and I got myself to not only a bad state, you know, mentally, but it turns out I had adrenal fatigue as well, because I was just burnt out. And, you know, there were other things going on in my life, not just that, but I was seriously burnt out. And so from that day forth, I have done a lot of work on myself to get back to that girl who just loved herself freely and allowed myself to look in the mirror and love me for, this pimple, these bags, this rash, this out of proportioned, perfect face. Because I'm so sick of jumping on Instagram and seeing girls and guys with their countless photos of their abs and their butts and their perfection, and I can't be the only person that gets sucked in sometimes to thinking, while I'm scrolling and having my scroll time on the couch, to thinking, having that thought where, oh shit, I shouldn't have just eaten that, something pathetic like sweet potato. I shouldn't have any carbs because I'm never going to look like that if I do that. I'm so sick of comparing. I'm so sick of everybody always trying to portray this perfect body, this perfect life, this perfect everything, when the reality is, like, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to try to pretend to be perfect. There's things in my life that are still hard and I'm still battling, but I'm fucking trying. And I just think, it's just time to start being real, and it's time to support each other. And there's so many times I've seen people put their real self out there, and it's obviously struck a nerve with me and made me feel a bit of fear, and I've judged them. And I've thought, oh my God, they're a bit cocky or confident or this or that. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's ridiculous. Because what it really is that I want to do that, and I want to be real, and I want to have the courage to just be myself and not feel like I've got to pretend I've got all my shit together. So I really believe anytime we judge somebody, we have that exact problem within ourselves. Like, I don't believe we really honestly have a reason to judge anybody, because we are all ourselves, and we all have every single right to say what we want, to feel what we want, to do what we want, to be who we want, to dress how we want, to look how we want. But yet you live in a place like Adelaide, and most of us have the same outfits, the same bags, the same shoes. We follow the same people. Where's our uniqueness? Where's our individuality? We're all doing the same thing, There's more to life than going to the gym and being fit and having a good rig and doing the same thing as everybody else. Like, there just is. We didn't get put on this planet to be identical twins living robotic lives as everybody else. I just think, let's figure out who we really are. Like, let's dig deep and let's ask ourselves, like, what do we really actually want to do with our time? What do we really like? Like, if we could do anything in our time, what would we do? And if we could do anything knowing that no one was going to judge us, what would we do? Like, seriously, what would you do? And if you could wear anything that you wanted knowing nobody would judge you, like, what would you wear? And if you could go out to, your best friend's birthday on a Saturday night wearing no makeup because nobody gave a shit, how would that feel? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love getting dressed up, made up, hair done. I love feeling pretty. Like, all those things are important to me. I'm not saying that I'm going to become some hippie bogan. I shouldn't say the word bogan because that's not fair. But I'm not going to become somebody that just isn't going to care about the way I look, because I do care. I take pride in the way that I look. But what I'm saying is we should be able to live a good balance of both, and we should be able to share as much of our true selves, inner selves and external selves, as, you know, that made up version of ourselves too. So I guess the purpose of this video is for me to get it off my chest, because it's been sitting on my chest wanting to say for ages, and I have been starting to have this conversation with friends. But I just wanted to get it out there in general. And if you're somebody that's battling any of these things or trying to figure out, you know, I don't know, I'm 32 and I'm just really going through the process of why are we here? Like, why are we born, given these certain amount of years, and then we pass on, and then we really don't know what happens next, but it's nice to think about what that could be. But why are we really here? Like, are we really here to just do the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to get paid to do some little things, you know, to do up our house or to go on a holiday every couple of years? What are we really here for? Like, are we here because we're supposed to look within ourselves? And I really believe we've all got magic in us, and we've all got light in us, and we're supposed to figure it out. We're supposed to figure out what's happening in here, and we're supposed to beam our light out and support each other and be real with each other and, you know, back each other up. So I guess I'm just putting it out there, you know, if you've gone through any of these things, or you're going through any of them, and you do want some support, you know, I would love to be your support, and I would love to talk about it. And I, at the moment, get so much out of having real conversations like this, because, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat my life. Like, I'm still learning a lot about who I am and why I am the way I am, and I'm trying to change a few things about who I am, and I'm trying to figure it out what it is that I'm here for and my purpose. Because I really do think it's going to keep bubbling up in your life until you listen and do something, or you're going to block it forever and maybe you're going to regret not listening. And at 32 years old right now, it's heavy on my heart that I really need to, or I really want to, go deep within and live a life that's so true to myself. And I just want to live a life that's based from love and comes from love. And, you know, I don't want to judge anybody anymore. I'm picking myself up on when I judge people, or if I have a gossip session. So sorry if this video bored you. You completely did not have to listen. It was your choice. I hope that somebody listens and it resonates, and, you know, it was just important for me to share this, and I really don't know how I'm going to finish it off, so I guess I'll just finish it there. Thanks for listening, and my rash is still there. Jeez, but that's cool. I got my voice up. Ben calls my voice my alien voice. Apparently I sound like an alien. E.T. phone home. On that note, I'm shutting this off. Bye.